Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders is finally taking it to Vice President Joe Biden.
Team Rising is here to react. Estuardo Rodriguez is a principal at the Raven Group, and Henry Rogers, Capitol Hill reporter at the Daily Caller. Welcome to two great friends of the show.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Happy New Year.
So we finally see the guns are ablazing. So Bernie Sanders taking a direct shot at Joe Biden. He says it's a lot. He's telling us this with the Washington Post. It's a lot of baggage that Joe takes into the campaign. It's going to create energy and excitement. He brings this campaign a record which is so weak it cannot create the kind of excitement and energy that is going to be needed to defeat Donald Trump. And he says, Estuardo even in there, that definitively Biden's votes on NAFTA and Iraq are going to sink him in the industrial Midwest. Generally agree. What do you make of this?
Well, yeah. I think you've got a perfect illustration of what's at stake here. Donald Trump was able to redefine the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is challenging the Democrats to do the same, to move the party. They have to go with him. It is his argument if they really want to be able to take on Donald Trump. If they go the safe route with Biden, he's basically saying it's just not going to work. It's a different time. It's a different paradigm here. And if you're not willing to change the party, as he also said in that same piece, if I win, I'm not going to go and appeal to the moderates. The moderates are going to have to come to me because this is a new Democratic Party that's willing to take chances and really bring out some challenging policy.
Well, and Henry, he's going after him where it hurts, which is electability. Yeah. The other quote he has here is he is going after him on the record, but he's saying this record is going to be weaponized against you by Trump. He says it doesn't take much imagination to understand that Trump will be saying, you see this guy? He voted for NAFTA.
I mean, listen, I've been waiting for Bernie Sanders to do this since he entered the campaign, for months. Since I've seen Biden have all these gaffes with no poll changing at all. Biden seems indefensible, but Bernie, if he comes on attack mode like this, I think he can fire up the base. You know that younger people love him. You know that, he needs to get this older crowd on base. And I think it's possible if he continues to give out reasons as to why he's different and why he thinks that he could beat Biden.
I gotta say, I think it might be too little, too late.
Really?
Because look, 30 days to go to the Iowa caucuses, but look at the news right now. Impeachment, that's going to dominate the headlines through January. Iran, that's going to suck all the oxygen out of the room. There were months and months, October through November, in which Sanders, the post-heart attack boom, could have consolidated and begun to go on the offensive, Estuardo. And that is when the national media was most had their attention on the Democratic race. A lot of kumbaya in those times. Yeah. And now, so there's also the argument people are paying more attention. But from my perspective, knowing where the national media is going to be in January, this might be a little bit too late.
I also want to flag Iowa isn't necessarily representative of the true diversity of the country now and what's going to come afterwards. So I think Iowa's going to provide anyone who wins a boost. But the following states, that's really a greater representation of what the country's thinking about and what direction they're going to go in. And that safety candidate, again, it's Biden's to lose. It's going to be Biden's to lose. And if he does, he'll only have his own campaign to blame for it, for playing it safe, for not being more aggressive, especially against a candidate, as you said, who had a heart attack, who dropped off the radar for a significant amount of time. Maybe too little, too late. But we also saw 2016, 2018, a revolution, most diverse Congress ever, a base that came out. And if that energy is still there, as we see from the fundraising numbers, he might be able to pull it out.
I mean, Iowa is 1 month away.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
From today, right? 1 month
from
exactly.
Today.
Yeah.
It is now officially 2020.
Right.
This is when most people first start to really pay attention. Yeah. So I think it matters that Bernie is taking this fight to Biden and that he's doing it now. There are still more debates to go before people start to vote. And with Iran, I mean, what better example do you need of why it matters to have a different foreign policy approach and the disaster of the Iraq War, the consequences of which we are still living with to this day? I mean, that's part of why it's a big part of why we haven't emboldened Iran, why we have this situation in the first place.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I think that Sagar's right, too. I mean, the media obviously has not been covering Bernie as much. There has been a blackout with Bernie. So I don't think it's too late. I think there still is time. I think if Bernie continues to jab and jab hard what she needs to do, I think it's completely possible. I think there are also some other candidates in this race who also have a possibility of winning. We'll have to see what Elizabeth Warren's finance numbers are looking like, but
And the crazy thing is, Biden has no response to this. Every time he's been challenged on the debate stage, Eduardo, he has basically said, he literally just throws his hands up. And the last time that he was hit on this, I mean, we played that clip here on the show earlier this week. He just said, "I'll invite Bernie to the White House for some dessert." It was like, what? Yeah, he was like,
it's Uncle Joe. He's hospitable.
Right.
He's always welcome here. What do you want him to say?
What is that?
No.
A, it's so condescending.
Yeah.
B, that means nothing. Is that your substantive argument about your vote for the war in Iraq?
Well, I mean, look, he's not going to disavow any of those. The 30+ years of history. He has to own it. He just has to have a response for it. And I'm sure his team. I mean, I would assume his team is actually preparing a more thoughtful response. But I think you're right, Crystal. What happened yesterday with the attack and the killing of Soleimani, I think you're back in the weapons of mass destruction. Talking
Absolutely.
points. Well, we attacked because there was something out there, and now you just heard
a bad guy.
Pentagon said there was evidence of a possible attack against diplomats. The Trump administration is going to have to respond to this, and it's a perfect opportunity for both Biden and Sanders to say, we can't do this again, right? Even with Biden's record.
Yeah.
All I know is it's the first time that I've seen Bernie Sanders talk about Joe Biden without prefacing it with
my friend.
My friend. So massive
not your friend,
development
Bernie.
in the race.
Guys aren't friends anymore.
Stick with us, guys. We're going to have more after the break.